Hello. I just want to reintroduce myself. My name is Janeece and
I'm Alex.
How y'all
Good to
doing?
have you guys back.
yes, welcome
Thank you
back.
kindly.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
hmm So before we get started, we would like to go over confidentiality. Again, everything that we say here stays here. The only time when we can break confidentiality is if you report that you are neglecting or abusing a child or an elder, or if you're talking about bringing harm to yourself or to someone else, or if we are court ordered to do so. Does that make sense?
So if I tell y'all that the other day she threatened to choke me, would y'all call the people on her?
That don't count.
It depends. I mean, we have certain boundaries as far as what the intent. If it was really a serious intent.
Right.
Okay.
Or if she
Now,
was
our-
just saying that because she was upset.
She
Now, you're
slammed the
smiling.
frying pan down the other day, kind of hard. So
You
I don't
said
know.
she did what?
I'm just messing with my.
Okay.
Okay, I was saying we take those things seriously here.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad you felt open enough to share, even if you were just joking. Were you joking?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good.
I mean, she do threaten to choke me, but she ain't gonna do it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not afraid for my life.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. And you would let us know, correct, if you were afraid, and you would let us know if you were afraid. Okay,
Well, definitely a
good.
lot more humor than the last time. So
Right.
that's good. I don't know if it's
Right.
sarcasm or if it's genuine, but
It's
I mean,
sarcasm.
okay.
Okay.
Well, all right.
So, Alex, would you like to do a quick summary of the last session?
I'm sure. So last time I know when we wrapped up, we were just talking about, well, first off, just what the issue was that you guys both presented was the fact that Maurice had lost his job. It was causing like a big strain in the relationship, and that you guys weren't really able to communicate to each other your needs and what your expectations were as far as moving forward with the job search. And I know me and Janeece asked you to go home and just work on a little bit of the communication things that we provided you with. And with this session, we're just going to go into more detail and kind of expand on it, so that you can really turn this into, a new way of doing things.
To where it will be beneficial for both of you, so that you two will have the tools that you need when you go home, and not just practice here, but actually utilize it in your home when you're
Right.
away from us.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So, can you guys let us know what's been going on since the last time we've seen you two?
I'll start. His unemployment did stop. We were talking about that the last time too. But at the same time, I have seen him make a little bit more effort to look for a job.
Okay.
And I did have an interview today.
Oh,
Please.
okay.
Not something that I want to do, but like you said, we need the money. So if I get it and nothing else comes up, then I'll go ahead and take it. And she has been more helpful. She's asked people at her job, been asking around. So it's been looking pretty up as far as that's concerned.
Okay. Good. Good. And that was soon. I mean, just right after you guys left, we got an interview.
And that's why I was
Right.
telling her, like, this place now, I had applied for maybe like 2 weeks after I got laid off. So it's been a while. But they called me back because they do need some help. So, like I said, stuff like this takes time. So I guess once we got it out there in the open atmosphere, God heard us and put it in my lap. So
Good. Sounds like you feel good about it.
Right.
How are you feeling about it?
I feel good about it. I'm glad to see him making an effort. I'm glad to see things changing, knowing that, we don't have to worry about or depend upon unemployment, and that he will be working soon, I hope. So I'm feeling pretty good about his efforts.
Okay.
And how are things now? You said that the unemployment has stopped for you, correct?
Mhm.
So how are things now with you having to take on the financial responsibility?
It's still difficult as physically it is, but like I mentioned the last time, as long as I see him making an effort and I know that it's temporary, I don't have a real issue with it. I have picked up hours at work, like I mentioned before, but hopefully he'll be working in the next week or two.
we'll at least get a offer.
Okay.
Okay.
So she can also
for
stay off my
working.
back because now she on my back about the kids because she's saying I keep the kids up too late at night.
Yeah, because he don't have to get up and go anywhere in the morning, so he doesn't. So he doesn't realize that the kids still need a set time to go to bed, so they can get up and go to school.
And what are your thoughts, Maurice, on that? I see you rolling your eyes a little bit, not
She
trying to
just
look
wanna
at her.
find something to nag about. Like the kids are fine. I get them up in the morning. Take them to school and stuff like that. And it's not. She just wants something to nag about.
Yeah, but I mean, if they staying up to
See.
10 and 11 o'clock at night, when they're supposed to be in bed by 8:30 or 9, that's hour and a half, 2 hours late.
I think it's good that, not good that you guys are still having conflict, but good that you say it's, she's always bringing up something. It is gonna always be something that you guys may not agree on. And I think that's important because we actually have an assessment that we want to give you guys regarding conflict and kind of what your guys' feelings are about, how to
Okay.
resolve conflict.
Okay.
So right now, we can have both of you turn over your papers, and it should be the paper on top titled Post-Fight Self-Assessment. So if you two would just read over while I read out loud the directions.
Okay.
So the following are effective actions to take during a disagreement. They are in no particular order, and on a 1 to 10 scale, with 1 being not at all and 10 being 100%, how would you rate your own participation in a previous fight? So on this sheet, we have 13 questions, and we just want you to fill them out, putting them on a scale of 1 to 10. And then once you two finish, you'll look up, you'll let us know, and then we'll go on with the rest of the paper, okay? So just take 5 minutes or so to answer them to the best of your abilities, okay?
You grading this?
No, we're not.
Okay.
grading.
Just trying to get nervous with
This
that.
is for
about
more
say-
for awareness.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
awareness, and to help you two see how you communicate with each other.
I want her reading on my paper.
Well, you're gonna share it with each other anyway.
Right, towards the end, you two will switch papers.
He's not finished yet.
Let's not belittle him. Let's give him some time. You're gonna see pretty soon. I said you're gonna see his paper pretty soon. I see you peeking over.
Okay.
So we don't have to do the bottom.
Not yet.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
gonna be later.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so looks like you two both filled out from 1 to 13. So what I would like for you two to do next is to swap papers. So you see, told you guys would get to look to see each other's paper. So pretty much after you complete the checklist, swap your paper. Then I want you to reflect on what you two can do differently in the future by looking at from 1 to 13. Seeing the 10s, the 9s, the 8s, seeing how they really impacted the other person. So if you don't mind, we're gonna go down the list, okay?
Okay.
So how do you feel about seeing number 1, and then either Geraldine or Maurice first, whichever?
How curious did I stay about my partner's concerns? Put a 3.
Right, you put a 3. But you're looking at me. I said, why don't you look at him since he's your partner? He's
You
the one
put a
that put down the 3.
You don't feel like, are we supposed to be discussing this?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't feel like I'm curious about how you feel?
No, I answered it as, for me, I looked at it as, typically when you come to me, I don't have to be curious because you tell me what it is. So certain
Okay.
things I want to know more about, but other things you make it obvious what it is that you're concerned about, so it doesn't leave me room to be curious
Okay.
as to,
That makes sense.
what your concerns are, because
Okay.
I pretty much
So
know.
I'm good at expressing myself.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that was a good way to make it more positive.
Yeah.
That was good. Okay.
Now you
Next.
put a 10 on here for me. Well, how curious did you stay about my concerns? You put a 10 as 100%. I would think that would be a 1. Cause half time you just,
Why would
Yeah,
you
what
think
makes
that?
you think that's a
cause half
1?
time she just coming in, like for instance, cause I was thinking about like the instance with the children,
Mhm.
putting them to bed. That was just a concern, not necessarily listening to what I thought or what I wanted. She just saw an issue and I needed to go ahead and make sure that I solved it. So it wasn't really no concern as to how I was feeling about a thing.
And it's good just off the first question because that tells you in itself that maybe the intent that the other person thinks is there is really not there.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you're saying you consider to be curiosity, you take it as something else.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can-
Consideration
Mhm.
for the kids, and I know that he's not quite as used to, even though he's been doing it for a while now, as used to like me as far as putting him to bed at a specific time or whatever. So that's why I brought that up.
Okay. Good.
Okay, that's good. So the next question, please.
Did I consistently recap what I was hearing? Maurice put a 2.
You want me to explain that?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, that's something I really don't have to do. You make sure that you heard, so I don't have to do it too much. But you put an 8. You never reiterate what it is that I'm trying to say to you.
That's not true.
And it's always,
Yes,
my
I
biggest
do.
thing is, yeah, but. If you putting a but after whatever it is you're saying, you're not hearing what I'm saying.
No, that's your perception. I
Okay.
am hearing.
Well, considering you're talking to me, that makes sense.
So let's stop because remember the last time we kind of introduced instead of just saying the you never, saying you want more of. So what I'm hearing you say with this particular piece is that I would like for you to reiterate more.
I mean, considering what the question is asking, yes. Typically, if there are any concerns that my wife brings to me, she pretty much know. Like it's not really, doesn't have to really be much interaction. Like I can give her whatever it is that I'm, why or whatever. But that's just it with her. Now, if I come to her with an issue, we will talk about it more. So you do see a lot more. But I approach her totally different too.
Okay.
How do you approach her
That was
compared to
my
how she approaches you?
question. Thank you.
I mean, I approach her like, this is like typically if it's an issue that I'm approaching her about, it's not something that she has done, it's something that we have to do. So like if something is come up due or the kids need something, not necessarily, oh Jordan, you not doing this or you need to do this.
Okay.
It's the opposite with us though. So typically she coming with me with an issue is typically something that I'm not doing. I'm not looking for a job.
So I'm just
I'm not putting the
nagging and
kid.
nagging all the time, right?
Not all the time. You don't nag all the time. But
So-
when you have a concern, then that's when the nag comes in. And like I said in the first session, I understand with like even with the kids, I understand, getting them to bed on time, but we might have stayed up and we were reading and doing some other stuff so the time kinda gets away. So I understand it. So I'm not saying it's
Let's look at number 6, and I think that's a good leeway into that one. Just because of where you left off. But Maurice, would you mind reading that one? And
Well, my partner say I was clear explaining why my concerns were important, and Geraldine said I would say one. Let me
And he said one also for number 6.
Okay, so why did both of you put ones?
Because I put one because sometimes I feel like you hear me, but you don't hear me. It's almost like he is going in one ear and out the other. He's not understanding what my concern is, or we don't have the same concerns. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Our concerns are different. What I feel like sometimes what's important to me and what's bothering me to you is insignificant. Like with the kids going to bed on time. To you, it's like, well, you know, we were up reading, which is important, but if you're going to read, start at a early enough time to where they can still get to bed.
And I feel, and I think the concerns that she has, I don't find them to be insignificant, but I think she blows them out of proportion. So it's not like the kids go to bed late every night. It might have been once or twice this week or last week, and now it's just this global disaster because the kids are always going to bed late, and that's not the case. Now I feel, as I'm saying stuff to her, she's saying mine goes in one ear and out the other. Mine don't reach her ear. They just, it's like an echo, and by the time it gets to her, it's the last part of the echo. So she faintly, she knows there's something in the atmosphere, but she don't hear.
Well, so how do you know that?
Just because of how the way you can respond. So I can say something to you, and it's always, yeah, but, that word but, just.
Well, because I have an opinion.
See?
I have an opinion and I have a mind of my own.
And quick question, how are you exactly expressing that opinion? Because Maurice earlier was talking about how it seems as though you're placing the blame on him every time. And when he decides to come up and talk to you about an issue, it's more so, what can we do since we're partners? So how can you
Well,
fix that?
how can I fix it? Well, I guess before I speak, think about what I'm saying and think about the message that I'm trying to get to you, and try to make sure that it's not you, and maybe try to be a little bit more us. We, like you said, we need to focus on getting the kids to bed on time. We need to focus on making sure we pay our bills, and you know, instead of you need to make sure they get to bed on time. So that's something that I agree that I do need to work on, because I can see how it can turn into a conflict.
Right. Okay. Alex, were there any other questions that stuck out to you that you wanted them to discuss, or?
I think number 6 probably hit the nail on the head, wouldn't you say so?
I think so.
As far as just not really hearing the message behind what you guys are saying.
Okay.
Because what I'm hearing is that you do have similar concerns, it's just your reactions are different. I think it would be safe to say that you guys, I mean, you love each other, that's obvious, you're here, you want to work on it. I think it's just a matter of your reactions are really what the issue are, not necessarily the emotion. Because Maurice, it doesn't sound like you're upset with her that she has concern. It's just maybe the response. And same with you, you're not upset that he, you know, is concerned about the children reading and spending quality time. It's just that maybe his behavior as far as letting them stay up late is what the concern is. So I think it's good to just kind of look at it, or maybe, you know, try to reframe it in that sense to see maybe it's just the reactions, not actually what you got, what the intent is. Okay.
And speaking on reactions, if you would please go to the next page where we will have fair fighting rules. Let's say, are we all there? So I just want you guys to read along while we go over basically what's in bold. Okay, so the first one for the fair fighting rules says, before you begin, ask yourself why you feel upset. So basically, for your homework, we want you guys to go through this paper and see how you can implement each one when you're having an argument or disagreement. upset, okay?
Mhm.
So before you begin, ask yourself why you feel upset. So are you upset because you feel like you're doing an unshared fair of housework? Or is this just something else for you to just add on? So you should just think about taking your time, feeling out your feelings before you two kind of jump on each other, okay?
Okay.
And discuss one issue at a time. So instead of piling up issue after issue after issue, you're not really focusing on that one main issue to where that got you to the fight in the first place, because you're constantly adding on,
Okay.
okay? And no degrading language. So please don't call anybody out of their name or things like that, because
We
we want to
don't do
be
that.
we want to be
Yeah.
respectful to people, okay?
Okay.
The next one is express your feelings with words and take responsibility for them. So basically using I feel this way. I'm angry because of blah, blah, blah. Things like that. Okay?
Okay.
And take turns talking. This is a very, very big thing for both of you, because
Mhm.
you two love to talk over each other. So this is something that we're definitely going to try to work on. Take
Okay.
turns talking, because if both of you are talking at the same time, it's hard for you to hear it and to really internalize what the other person is saying. So it's kind of like a fighting match, like going over one another.
Okay.
So
And there has been a little bit of improvement, and I feel
Mhm.
like we've made progress, and you guys are kind of slowly starting to hear each other just because of that one piece right there, actually letting the other
Right.
person finish.
Okay.
So that's good.
And the next one is no stonewalling. So it says sometimes the easiest way to respond to an argument is to retreat into your shell and refuse to speak. This refusal to communicate is called stonewalling. So you might feel better temporarily, but eventually you two will have to go back to what the problem was so that you can talk it out, so that nobody is left upset for days on end, okay? The next one is no yelling. So again, with how we were talking about taking turns talking, and basically you shouldn't yell over one another, because then you won't be able to hear what the other person is saying as well. And then that can make the other person upset, because they may feel as though you're talking to them as if they were a child being scolded, and both of you are adults, okay?
Okay.
And the next one is take a time out if things get too heated. If you need 5-10 minutes to walk away just so that you can calm down, definitely do that. But make sure that you're not trying to, what am I trying to say? Make sure that you're not trying to let it go for days on end,
Mhm.
okay? And the last one, attempt to come to a compromise or an understanding. So basically just try to hear both sides and try to understand where the other person is coming from, even though you may not agree. Okay?
Okay.
And with a lot of couples, I think the timeout thing is probably like the hardest thing for people to grasp, because you think of timeout and kids,
Mhm.
but it's really just a time to, it makes you self-aware, like, okay, I feel myself getting upset. Let me then take the actions to, not let it escalate. So it's just really more about self-awareness, not about avoiding the situation and walking away. But, like Janeece said, it's important to keep it brief, because if you take too big of a time out, then that turns into like avoiding the situation.
Okay.
But I think, that would be a good place to start. And then just to wrap up, and this will also just be a part of your homework. And, it's a lot of information, but it's something that once you really become open to and you really start to listen to each other, these things won't really feel like assignments. You know what I mean? It does now, because you don't do them as often. But just talking about wrapping up conflict resolution, you want to focus on the problem. We did that in the first session, and we said, look, this is what the issue is. We agreed that the loss of a job was probably the main issue, and that everything else was coming after that.
Okay.
The reflective listening.
Oh wait,
Mhm.
one thing,
Mhm.
back to focusing on the problem. We also don't want to focus on the person, like put the blame on the other person, because that's not really gonna get you guys anywhere. Let's say we understand, because Maurice was earlier talking about how he felt as though when you would speak to him, you were placing the blame on him.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
do you understand
Mhm.
that? Do you understand that?
Oh, I understand.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
Oh,
I just
no,
wanted to make
you're
sure. I
fine.
just want to
Yeah,
make sure
I
we
mean-
touch base on that one for them.
Okay. Okay, yeah. I mean, and a lot of this, like I said, it's gonna take some practice, but reflective
Right.
listening, the
Mhm.
I statements, which we talked about that a lot. Wouldn't you think the
I
I,
think so.
just
See, that was an I statement right there. I
Mhm.
think so.
just, I mean, taking the accountability, off the other person and kind of putting you, because you were the one speaking. You can't expect for the other person to know the timeout once again and work towards a resolution. So, the love is there, but that doesn't cancel out all the arguments and conflicts. So, I mean, if you guys are open to it, I think, this is a good direction to continue in and something that maybe you want to implement over the next few weeks.
I'm open to it.
Okay. All right. Did you have any other questions or concerns? Okay. Well, I hope you hear back about the job.
Yeah.
I think that'll really be some good, to come in the relationship and to help you guys to incorporate some of these things,
And we hope that you take with you this post-fight self-assessment and that you can see that you two are willing to work on these issues. You talked about it, you looked at each other in your face, made the eye contact, and you were very willing to talk about what it is that was bothering both of you and just take these fair fighting rules and relationship conflict resolution and just try to work on them.
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you want to meet again in about 2 or 3 weeks?
That
Okay.
sounds good. Same
All right.
time.
You guys have a good
time
week.
works. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.